All right.
All right, we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best podcast of the entire summer is back. This is my favorite time of the year.
Yep.
NBA Finals, school's out, it's summertime, and we have so much to cover in just the past 2 weeks. We missed the first week. We missed the first week of summer because we were in Indiana, and I got to go to the Game 3 of the Indiana Pacers game, and I had such a phenomenal time. Shout out to Kelly for getting me the tickets. And then last week, didn't have time to, so that's our usual excuse.
Tell us about your experience at the game. So James was at the Pacers-Knicks game. So tell us all about it.
So sadly it ended in a loss for the Pacers. Yeah. But that was kind of fueled
You brought the L.
Okay. It was fueled by a lot of questionable calls, I will say, by the refs. You know, we had Scott Foster, so I've never heard a ref get booed more than him. So
they didn't like him very much.
I don't think they were booing at the players. I think they were booing at Scott when someone got fouled or flopped. And okay, yes.
Go ahead. No, you're good. You keep talking. You're good. This is interesting.
But it was so awesome. The atmosphere there was so amazing. And no offense to the Hawks Raptors game, wasn't it? It wasn't even close.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Wasn't even close. It was like watching LA Fitness.
Yeah, you went to
the Hawks Raptors
LA
game.
Fitness.
And it was so awesome. The worst part was having to hear the Knicks fans after the game.
Ugh.
Horrible. It was fine though, but like I said, shout out to Kelly for giving me the tickets. I just had such a phenomenal time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that was just so awesome. So awesome.
You actually went to an Eastern Finals game, okay? So, I mean, you're right, that's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So we had a great trip up to Indiana, but we're here to talk about the NBA Finals. I'm
beyond excited because last year I had such a fun time talking about this. The finals.
Yeah.
And the best time of the year is just like especially for us, like late summer.
Uh-huh.
Because, we get to talk about I don't know about the draft, but it's
we'll do our draft podcast, but that's coming later. That's at the
end of June. Millions of people have already made their mock drafts. So
all right. So let's talk first about each conference finals first. Okay. So Thunder, Timberwolves, OKC won 4-1. Gentlemen's sweep. So what do we think about OKC and what they did to the Minnesota? Because Minnesota was coming off a 4-1 win over the Warriors, gentlemen's sweep over the Warriors,
in which they also gentlemen swept the Lakers. I think
Correct.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are coming off a ton of momentum, and I think that their luck kind of, I don't want to say ran out, or their momentum just kind of stopped, but the Thunder were coming off of Game 7, and like you say, they played, when the first game, in that playoff series, they played, more recently than the Timberwolves did. And you made a good point by saying that they're kind of, they were, ready for this before the playoff series even started.
Right.
Anyways, but I think that the Thunder showed that they were the better team, and
no doubt.
And they were.
Yeah, no doubt.
Really, that Game 5 was probably one of the worst playoff mud stomps I've ever seen. They were destroying the Timberwolves. Caruso was giving them 5 steals in the first half. I'm pretty sure
we watched that game at the hotel.
And then Timberwolves also had, I'm pretty sure, 13 turnovers in the first half.
Yeah.
13 in the first half.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's an insane level of turnover prone.
So I've got the game recaps here. So game 1, OKC 114-88. Game 2, 118 to 103. Game 3 was the outlier. That's the Timberwolves 143, OKC 101. That was just the game OKC's like, all right, look, we're going to give it a go. And
Let's give it one. I mean,
yeah. Well, what happens is in these 7-game series, they kind of like give it a go, and then if they start falling behind by like 20, then they're like, forget it. We're going to phone this one in, and we got another game going.
Yeah, I think.
So then the next one though was the big one. They won at Minnesota. They won 128 to 126. That put them up 3-1 coming back to OKC, and they won it 124 to 94. They won by 30. That's the game we were watching. So SGA, 31 points, 5 rebounds in the series.
He kind of cemented himself as the MVP of the league.
Yeah, he's going to Anthony Edwards at 23 and 7. The series average was 117 to 110. Of course, the outlier was the 143 to 101, so that kind of threw the averages off. The Minnesota out rebounded them, but pretty much OKC showed its dominance in that one.
I think that OKC is probably the best defensive team I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I have never seen a team so, like, technically skilled and physical when it comes to offense. I mean, you got a duo of Lou Dort and sometimes even Jalen Williams. Like, he plays good defense. Shea is also, like, a decent defender.
Well, we talked about this. We talked about this last summer when it happened, and this will be part of our stuff as we go through our summer months. But I remember you and I when they got Isaiah Hartenstein last summer, and then they also got Caruso. We were like, man, they were so close to winning right. And Hartenstein had a great series for the Knicks versus the Pacers last year, even though the Pacers beat them. You know, he didn't get. So you're talking about, wow, they just picked up this guy and to add to what they already have. So they have a lot of size. They can let Holmgren play on the wing. They don't have to let him play inside. They can play, and they're just great defensively. So you know, they're a tough out for sure. But they definitely showed their dominance. 4 games to 1, for sure.
I think this is the dynasty. I'm saying that
they are going to be a problem.
I mean, of course, a dynasty has to win like 3 championships in like a matter of
we dare say
5 years.
Yeah, so we dare say that the Nuggets probably have proven to be the second best team in the West. They took the Thunder to 4 games to 3. But what's funny is the Clippers took the Nuggets to 4 games to 3.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how the playoffs, because the Lakers were horrendous. The Rockets took the Warriors 4 games to 3. The Rockets, though, were the 2 seed, remember, so they got beat in the first round, so that's a little. So Thunder, though, you're talking about a Timberwolves team that smoked the Lakers, smoked the Warriors, and then they got smoked by the Thunder. But you and I have talked about this a lot. Matchups are, a lot of this, and it's just wasn't a great matchup for the Timberwolves.
You only hear. Oh, I just realized something.
Go ahead.
Listen to this.
Go ahead.
Timberwolves, Lakers, gentlemen swept. Warriors, Timberwolves, gentlemen swept.
Yeah.
Warriors, Rockets. That was 4-3. 4-3.
Yeah,
that
we
was
just talked about that. Yeah.
4-3. I think the only 2 games or the only 3 series. Whatever. My point is that there's been so many gentlemen sweeps in this entire playoffs. I just wanted to point.
So I listened to the radio today, and they brought up a good point of that.
They did?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
Are you real?
Well, it was my guy Fortenbaugh. So they brought up a good point.
That didn't change anything.
I like him. So, the Pacers and the Thunder since January 1st have been the 2 best teams in NBA, record-wise. So we're really getting, even though the Pacers were the 4 seed, they started the season off just horrible. So they kind of got so far behind. And then when they hit their stride in January 1st, they've been the best team, and the Thunder have been the best team. But the Thunder are the heavy favorites. Now, we know who we're pulling for.
Yeah.
We're the Pacers fan. We're hardcore. We're Hawks fans because of Atlanta, but we're Pacers fans for life. We're going to watch hardcore Thursday night. We're going to be at the farm. We'll watch it Thursday night, so that'll be fun. Okay, so Thunder, Timberwolves, 4-1, Thunder dominant. Okay, let's look at the Pacers-Knicks series. 4-2. You were there. Halliburton, obviously. So the big game in that series was the very first game. The Knicks were up by 10 with like a minute to go, or 7 points with a minute to go, and they lost in overtime. That was the big one. That was 138 to 135 in overtime. Then the Pacers beat them again, took both games in New York, 114-109. Then there's the James Davenport game, 106-100, the Knicks with the win. It was a good game, though. It was a real good game. Then the Pacers take the game the next night, or 2 nights later, back in Indiana, 130-121. Then the Knicks get it to 3-2, and then we go back to Indiana, and Indiana ends up running them out of the building, 125-108. Jalen Brunson was the leading scorer, 31 points a game, and Tyrese Halliburton was the leading scorer for the Pacers at 21 points a game. This is how close the series was. The Pacers 117-point average, the Knicks 115-point average. Rebounds, Knicks out-rebounded the Pacers, and Pacers assisted the Knicks. You can come in and be a special guest appearance.
Yeah.
Hey, Boogie.
Mama just got home.
Hey,
So,
who's on there?
no,
know.
we're recording on YouTube, but then we're live on Facebook. So, there's Mom. So,
She's even begging for like a
Mom spot.
Mom
we'll
spot.
we'll
Yeah,
get a
that's what
mom
it's
we'll get a mom spot for sure. We'll get a mom spot for sure. So, I just wanted you to pop in and say hey.
Oh, hi.
We done in a few minutes. See you in a minute. All right, so Pacers. We go back and look at the bracket. So they took that one 4-2. They beat the Cavs 4-1. That was, and then they beat the Heat they beat the Bucks 4-1. So they've gentlemen swept. So it's the 2 best teams playing in the league right now. No doubt about it. The Pacers.
Well, the 2 best teams in the playoffs so far, I think. Like the Pacers have proved that they are the best team in the Eastern Conference when it comes into the playoffs. And then the Thunder have proved, obviously, that they're the best team in the Western Conference for the playoffs.
So matchups are going to come down to Halliburton's got to kind of control things, but the OKC's defense is going to be the thing, how they control SGA. So let's look at the matchups during the season when they played each other. So, and see how those games went.
There's 2 outcomes. I think there's only 2 outcomes to this. One is that Thunder, unfortunately, might mudge off and gentlemen sweep, but I think gentlemen swept. I think they'll gentlemen sweep them. Or the Pacers are going to give them a run for their money and take it maybe 6 or 7 games. I think that's...
All right, so let's look and see here. March 29th, Thunder won 132-111. So that was March 29th. So that's when the Pacers were playing good and doing well. And then December 26th, day after Christmas, Thunder 120, Pacers 114. So that's the only 2 times they played all year. The Thunder beat them both times. It says that, the first matchup took place in Indy, where the Thunder edged out 120-114 to extend their winning streak to 9 games. Shea dominated the night with 45, tying his career high. He shot 15 of 22.
His career high is on
Andrew Nembhard led the Pacers with 23, and Pascal Siakam had 22. The second game, once again, Shea was the star, 33 points. Lou Dort had 22. And Jalen Williams had 18. Chet Holmgren didn't play in that game. So it would appear as if the Thunder have the advantage. So, but this is going to be, the Pacers are going to have a great home court advantage. Oklahoma City's got a great home court advantage. And these are 2 small market teams. Indiana doesn't have a big market, Oklahoma City, but they're going to have a nice home court advantage. The fans are going to be going crazy. Okay. We're pulling for the Pacers. So we know the Pacers are going to win. But, you know, it's going to be hard. What do the Pacers have to do to beat the Thunder? What do you think?
They are going to have to play, and by they I mean Tyrese. Tyrese is going to have to conduct the best offense of his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to be probably one of the most elite, like, passers, and we know that he can do that. And he's just going to have to be so good offensively if he wants to be able to keep up with the just beyond elite defense from the Thunder.
Yeah.
Like, because they're just going to, well, no pun intended, storm towards them. And just, it's going to be difficult if Tyrese can't show up in those offensive plays. It's going to be very, very difficult. So, what are your thoughts on that?
The Pacers, man, they have proven during the playoffs that they have been tough to deal with.
They deserve to be in the spot.
They deserve to be in the spot. They beat the Cavs. The Cavs have the best record in the East. They beat them and Cleveland. They beat 2 games in New York. The key is they got to get one of those games in Oklahoma City. They got to win one of them. They got to match the intensity early on. Got to play great defense. They space. Got to hit some shots. Oklahoma City's going to get their stuff. So I just think they got to keep it. They can't let Oklahoma City kind of get out away from them and try to catch up. They need to keep it a tight game and let Tyrese just be Tyrese. Got to find a way to control Shea. They did not do it during the regular season very well. So, you know.
Well, let's realize something. There truly isn't a way to control Shea.
True.
He is the MVP. He is the most unguardable player in the entire NBA, especially with his unbelievably deep bag of foul baiting.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's not much you can do against, you know, the free throw merchant.
Yeah. So, I think it's going to go 7. I think the Pacers are going to win it in 7. And
Pacers in 5.
You go Pacers in 5? Wow.
UFC.
Kelly, you hear that?
Pacers in 5.
Kelly, you hear that? Pacers in 5. He's eternally hopeful over here. The trip to Indiana got him fired up, and he's ready to roll. Ready to roll. So anyway, okay. I had a good question. I just forgot what the question was because we were asking about that.
Well, that's tough.
Yeah, I know. That. It was a really good question. I should have typed it out. Oh boy. Well, I can't remember, so it must have not been that important. It wasn't very good. All right, so Thursday night, first game, Oklahoma City. Who you got?
Where's the game?
Oklahoma City. There's 2 games before we podcast again. Both of them at Oklahoma City, so give me your prediction.
I'm going OKC first game, but I'm going to take Pacers next game.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm going split. Pacers get the second game,
you made
Thunder
that
get the
point
first game.
a while ago. OKC is coming off playing games more recently, and the first game they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't need much more explanation.
Yeah.
And then next game, I feel like that's all. One game is all it's going to take for the Pacers to really, you know, like the first game. You know, they were kind of like dipping their toes in the water.
Yeah.
And then now, like second game, they're diving in. They're ready.
Yeah.
They're prepared for this. The first game, like they're prepared.
All right. So big news out of the NBA today. I don't even know if you know this yet. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. What do you think?
Not surprised.
He's been there 5 years.
You can see the expression on my face. Not surprised.
I don't know. I struggle with coaches getting fired.
It's, there was one quote I heard. Like someone on ESPN said, "I think that Tebow's gonna."
Thibodeau.
No, I know. I'm saying Tebow.
Oh,
That's
okay.
his. Yeah.
Okay.
Tebow is gonna need to take them farther into the playoffs if he really wants to stay.
Yeah.
He took them to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree. They've been talking about it, so evidently
It makes sense.
I don't know.
It makes sense.
Sometimes
It's better for the
sometimes a
players.
change of voice. You know, I mean, I don't know. I struggle.
But I feel like the real question is, who is it going to be?
Who's what?
Who's the next head coach?
Probably the guy who got fired from the Nuggets, or it could be Rick Brunson, Jalen's father.
That would be...
He's been there a while.
Dad, could you imagine your coach being your dad
Well,
in the National Basketball
that'd be pretty
Association at the...
Yeah, be pretty cool.
You're a grown man!
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's weird.
It's pretty cool. So,
What do you...
you don't think it's cool?
No.
Oh, well,
You're a grown
but
man
he's been in the
having your
league
dad
for.
coach you.
But he's been in the league for a long time. It's not like he's just all of a sudden like they're getting him. I don't know. I think it'll be Malone from the Nuggets. That's what I think. That's what I think. So, all right. So what do we got? Wrap up. What else do we need to tackle here?
Trying to think. Well, I mean, if we're gonna go on one subject, I think one thing we do like to talk about, especially as soon as especially in the off season, trades, and one indefinite trade that probably will happen.
Yeah, the big one is
I
Giannis.
want two.
Go ahead.
Just two.
Okay,
Giannis
two. Go ahead.
and Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
I want to talk about the Kevin Durant one.
Okay, you go ahead. Kevin Durant.
So, where do you think they could trade him? Where do you
Oof.
think he should go?
If I'm Kevin Durant, I'm going to take less money and I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to be the piece that somebody needs to get to the finals. I can't go anywhere and he's going to be the man wherever he goes, but he's got to try to fit in. He's played a long time in his career. He's had a great career. Hall of Famer. No doubt about it. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer because I knew his
So,
name
we're gonna
before
see.
I actually liked basketball.
How about this one?
Okay.
The Celtics.
No.
What?
No.
Remember, Jason Tatum's not there all next year. He's out with a torn Achilles.
Don't care.
He's 11 months away.
I don't care.
You don't think Durant with that roster?
Now, okay, think about this. When Jason Tatum comes back and Kevin Durant's still on the roster,
But it's the
where do you
end
think
of the
he's gonna
year. Tatum's going to be. Look, Durant's a 1 year guy right now. He's a 1 year hired gun. They're going to sign him to a 2 or 3 year contract. But the last 2 years ain't going to mean anything. They can void that. It's like the NFL. He's a 1 year hired gun kind of guy.
No, but
now.
think about this. What if when Tatum comes back, what is he gonna
Tatum's
do?
not coming back till April, James. April. That's the playoffs. If he even comes back, you're talking about the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of money tied up. I don't know if it'd be easier to do that, but I think that's a possibility.
3-year contract, like
Yeah, but
$30 million.
But it's not gonna. It's gonna be really a 1 year thing.
No.
He's a hired gun right now.
Why would we want to see the bad guys get better?
Well, what's funny is that nobody's talking about him going to the Lakers because they know the Lakers don't have a chance.
Oh.
I mean, there's 5 teams right now in the West that are better.
Why are you mentioning it if you don't think it's going to happen?
Okay, I think Celtics. They're talking about Knicks. Houston's a good one. Houston's got a lot of money,
I've heard that so much.
a lot of cap space, and they were good this year. You throw a star like Durant in there, that's a good.
Especially with someone who is
That's
as
a
good
strong
as shooting,
possibility.
someone who is good as shooting as he is on a team that could most definitely use that.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility.
That's one of their big gaping holes in the Houston Rockets franchise.
That's a strong
or
possibility.
Not franchise,
I agree.
dynasty.
Yeah, I agree with you on
Not
that
even
one.
dynasty. Goodness gracious, I can't
Yeah,
talk.
we think about
Their team. That's one of the biggest holes in their team that they cannot
Rockets.
shoot.
Rockets could be a good one. I think a sleeper could possibly be San Antonio. You talking about San Antonio
Got a
gets
pick? Oh,
Victor?
they could
They
trade.
get Victor back.
Could trade.
They got Stefan Castle. Stephon Castle. They've got who's the guy I got from Sacramento?
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox. You had Kevin Durant with Wembanyama. Whew, that's a tough one too. My sneaky pick next year for a team that's going to be really, really good is going to be Dallas. So we're going to see when Cooper.
What about Giannis? Do you think he's
Giannis
do
is
you
tricky.
think he's even gonna
First of all,
accept
Giannis.
trade and where
yeah,
he's gonna go?
I don't know. Giannis is a lot of it depends on what Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard's out with a torn ACL, so he's out a while, which might mean Giannis might play better without Dame. What do you think?
Sir, that man is playing in Milwaukee for the rest of his career.
You heard it. You heard it right here. Right here, James said.
I
he's
think
staying
that
with
the
the
only
Bucks.
this is just isn't the time for him to be traded. I
You
mean
say
a lot
staying with the Bucks.
of people say that it is the time, like financially and with how the team is, but for his age, it's just not the time. I
Right.
think, like if you really think about it, his play style is not going to last in the NBA because as
Right.
the older you get, the the more things start to
Yeah.
sorry, Ed, but crumble, and like you don't move as well
Yeah.
unless you're LeBron James. But that's just a whole different story. I don't think Giannis will be the same in the next, let's say, like 7 or 8 years,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be a little different because he's older.
Yeah.
And I think by that time he won't be on Milwaukee anymore. But like age-wise, I don't think it's the time for him.
So you think he's going to stay with Milwaukee? I hope he stays with Milwaukee.
Because I just don't know who's gonna go
Oh,
to.
now I remember my question, and that helps. That's so. Here's my question. Last question. We got a couple minutes left here. Boogie.
He saw it.
He sees the bug up there.
Yeah.
Okay. The FOMO dog. We have the FOMO dog. Fear of missing out dog. Boogie. Get him. Okay. Is with the Pacers and the Thunder in the finals, have we seen the official death of the super teams? Trying to get 3 stars on a team at the same time. Because both of these teams, now there were trades. Halliburton came from the Kings. Did Shea come from the Kings as well?
He came from the Clippers.
Clippers, okay.
So
So there were some minor trades, but for the most part, the Thunder and the Pacers have kind of been built through the draft. They've been built by draft picks, getting the right fits. There's not a 3-star. Shea's a star, but he became a star at the Thunder. They didn't go get him.
That's my argument. It's a no, but it's not a huge no. Like, what do you mean? It's a no. I can see your point,
Okay.
but the thing is, I have an example. The Lakers. I don't know if they're the best example. Never mind.
So the problem is, so here's let me retort to your argument. Pacers have 11 guys that average more than 10 minutes. That means you're not paying one guy, you're not paying 3 guys all your money, and then you're trying to go get a bunch of journeymen to fill out your bench. The Pacers have a good bench. They got good players on the bench that play a lot and play. Thunder, same thing. Good players on the bench that play a lot.
That's a super team.
No, the super team are 3 stars. LeBron, Bosh, Wade, Kyrie, Kevin, James Harden, Joel Embiid, Paul George. You're trying to get stars. Is the Thunder and the Pacers, have we kind of ended that? Now,
When in your mind does team equal 3?
that's what they
Team
were
is
called.
like, when I think
No,
of
but the
super
super teams
team,
were
like-
the 3 players. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, sure. If that's how the NBA takes it, then I don't know. Because think about this: the NBA is probably one of the most unpredictable sports besides the NFL.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna put the example of the Lakers, but think about it. They have LeBron, but of course he's gonna retire next year, which kind of
Another prediction by James. He's going to retire next year.
He's gonna retire.
Hey, Aunt Jill's watching.
He's gonna retire next year, and then they also have Luka.
Mm-hmm.
So LeBron, Luka, and then think about it. You said 3 stars makes a super team.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves has a very, very, very high chance of being an
No,
all-star.
I'm talking about super
So-
teams are you went out and you got people from other teams, brought them to your team.
That might be dead, but like super.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you
But
that
like
I agree
super
with
team
you.
can still be creative.
Right.
They can like.
I
they
agree
might
with you
be-
though that the Pacers and the Thunder are very good super teams. I got you. They've got top to bottom good
You
players.
could have just said trios then. Like
I know, but that's
dominant
what they
trios.
call them, are super teams. These like teams of like 3 superstars.
Sure.
So, I think the Thunder and Pacers and the T-Wolves have done it. I think the Nuggets, you know, I think the best teams in the league right now are the Rockets. All the Rockets' best players except for Dylan Brooks were basically homegrown guys, or they were picks, or they were players that they got in trades for getting rid of big players. I think it's still good, obviously, to have really good players on your team, but you got to have those guys that fill in the gaps and for sure have those kinds of things. That's for sure. So, all right, so that's it for us tonight. So let's recap real quick. Both of us are picking who to win the series. Pacers. Both of us say that the first 2 games in Oklahoma City are going to go split. OKC will win the first one. Pacers are going to win the second one. Pacers have to win one there. Got to. I think the Pacers are being underappreciated. They did a great job. They've played well this series. It's going to be a great series. Both teams are getting a good amount of rest. Yeah. Both teams are getting a good amount of rest, so we're going to get good series. So the next time we come back next Monday, we'll be 2 games in, and both of us are predicting 1-1. Okay. All right. So there we go. So shout out once again to Kelly for letting you go to the game. Awesome time with the Pacers. We got to go. You got to actually go see a playoff game. What an unreal experience. We're going to get Kelly on here soon. We just can't. I don't think we can talk to her right now during the finals. She'll be she's in game mode right now, so she'll be on another level Thursday night.
One day it's definitely guaranteed that
we'll
she
be
will
watching for sure.
She's going to do the parade.
She's already planning it.
She's already planning a parade.
Already planning it. So.
Pacers championship win.
All right, sign us off.
All right. Like always, if you want to, subscribe if you feel like. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. And as I always say, we know ball, but God knows all. We'll see y'all later.
See ya.